We're here with a meeting of the Naples Daily News Editorial Board, and joining us is Jesse Purdon, who's running for District 2 of the Bonita Springs City Council. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here, Alan.
For voters out there, let's go ahead and start and tell us a little bit about how long you've been in Bonita Springs.
Well, I've been here since 2006, but I've been active in Bonita politics for, we would say, the last 5 years. I've been kicking around the City Hall, council meetings, and I've been active in pretty much every major decision that's happened over the last 5 years, starting from, the flyover to development of the DRGR, the dog park, the high school, pretty much all of the big things that have come down the road. I have positions on record long before I filed to run.
And where were you before you moved to Bonita?
Actually, I was out in Naples at, east of 75, kind of out in the swamp there. You're going off Randall, so I was all the way out in this, what they call the estates. So I was out in the estates for a while, and prior to that, I was in Michigan, and when I graduated from Central Michigan University with a dual major in public administration and under political science and interpersonal and public communication, I moved down here to Florida.
And one last quick little background question in terms of career-wise. What's your career?
Currently, I run the congressional district offices for Southwest Florida. I am the liaison between Washington, D.C. and Southwest Florida. I'm an advocate for the folks of Southwest Florida when dealing with the various, federal agencies, and really the best part of my job is I get to fight the bureaucracy that is the federal government from the inside every day as a functionality of my job. So, yeah, that's what I do. I'm every single day, and you know how big the federal government is and how large bureaucracy tends to creep into all of those, and I get to untie the knots and fight for our folks when they're getting kicked around by the government.
So how would you balance that, Jesse, working for the congressman and being a Bonita Springs City Council member in terms of your time management?
Time management, I mean, look, I'm one of those folks, I work hard, I play hard, and there are no way, shape, or form will my current job affect my ability to do my city council job. I'm one of those guys who stays up at night reading the budget. I'm the person who goes over city council meeting notes and green sheets as soon as they're released, prior to the meeting, whether I'm going to the meeting or not. These are, Bonita is something I'm passionate about, and I really and truly feel if you're passionate about something, you care about something, you make the time. You always do, and it's something that I always will make the time to do. And there's been folks in the past who've balanced this quite well, and I don't think I'll have any problem in that regard. I'm quite confident I'll be able to do that.
And a specific question, one of the council meetings every month is in the morning. That's not going to be an issue.
That won't be an issue. I'm going to take the mornings off, and if it's one of the meetings that goes over, I'll take the entire day off. There's 2 meetings a month. One is in the morning, one is at night. Quite frankly, I don't know if I would have the support or not. I wouldn't be opposed to both meetings being at night, and not for a work purpose, but because, quite frankly, in my district, the folks in my district, District 2, I'm not in the high-rises. I'm not in Bonita Bay. I'm not in the colony. We're working folks. My whole district is walkable. Quite frankly, these are 40, 50-hour-a-week working people. They can't make it to the meetings in the morning. So I don't feel that necessarily my district gets the best representation during the morning meetings. But when I'm on the council, they'll get great representation. However, I would be an advocate for all-night meetings just so that it's really truly representative government, and all the folks who want to be there can be there. But obviously, that's something I'd have to take up after I win.
So what was it that you saw going on that prompted you to say, I need to get into this race?
Well, really, there isn't one issue that prompted me to say, this is it, I need to get in. I was urged last time around to run, and I declined to run. Because I wanted to learn more about the issues, and I wanted to be quite certain this is exactly what I wanted to do. So instead, I decided to get involved, and I went to all the meetings, and I got involved in all of the major causes, and I learned a lot from the people that I met around town, And then when it was time to file, I decided, you know what? I'm at every meeting anyway. I'm reading the agendas every meeting anyways. So why not take my voice to the other side of the podium and be able to represent the folks in my district in a position, capacity where I can actually vote for them.
And so what was the big issue that got you going?
You know, there isn't one. Once again, there isn't one issue. We in Bonita are blessed, in a way, to have many issues, but they aren't negative issues. We have issues regarding development in the DRGR, which I'm opposed to. We have issues with the high school and the location, which I'm involved in. We had issues. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Raptor Bay Towers over in Coconut Road, which I spoke out against. We had the issue of the flyover on Bonita Beach Road, which I actively organized people and spoke out against. The dog park, which I spoke out for. I mean, there's so many things that we have going on right now in the downtown development. We're going to have a great library. We have so much going on that in the next 4 years, which hopefully I will be involved in the council, we're really at a tipping point of where we're going to go from good to great, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Let's go ahead and circle back to the development of the DRG. Are you saying, categorically nothing can be built out there, or what's?
Well, I wouldn't put it that way, because as it is currently zoned, their development is allowed. People try to make it seem like there's no development in the DRGR. That's not the case. Would I blow out the DRGR? No, I wouldn't. And it's not necessarily a popular decision. And I have some developers who really don't like me due to that position, and that's fine, because the overall feeling about the DRGR is it's crucial to the water quality of Southwest Florida, and it's one of the areas where there's actually green open spaces that we've successfully been able to keep the developers off of, and quite frankly, I would not want to blow it up. And I think that a road is never just a road. I think that one complex is never just a complex. And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist and say that necessarily any of these are Trojan horses, but the reality is, if you build it, they will come. And I think that I have the ability, with my vote, and the folks who are already on council knowing how they feel about development out there, to hold the line on the DRGR. And I plan to hold the line on the DRGR. And I don't think it's an unrealistic view that we can protect the DRGR. And I plan to.
You mentioned in there also the issues with downtown and redevelopment downtown. Are you satisfied with the direction of the redevelopment project that council approved?
I'm glad you asked that. Downtown, they're doing some great things downtown. They're putting all the utilities underground, which is wonderful. It's going to be a lot more aesthetically pleasing. They're making it, which I really advocated for. I wanted it to be bikeable, walkable, pedestrian friendly. Downtown, because there's nothing better than when you're at Riverside Park. There's a band playing. You have folks from the Colony and River, and down in Rosemary Park, all out there together, swaying to the beat of the music. There's nothing more beautiful than that, and it kind of is who we are. However, I will say on the negative side of it, look, they went $10 million over on the budget. I don't feel that that's necessarily the most responsible decision that was made. I don't fault. Some of the folks who were afraid that this thing was going to get canned if they didn't go through it, but I think we could have fought harder, because I think that being a proper steward of tax dollars is important. I'm a guy who didn't come from much, and to me, I understand the value of a dollar, and regardless of whether it's my dollar or the city's dollars, I think those things should be looked at. For example, and I was on the fence in the mayor's race. I think all three of those guys are great guys, but Peter Simmons stuck out to me at that council meeting. I'm not sure if you know the one I'm referring to, but folks kind of might tried to make him look like he was being a little crazy or a little obstructionist, because he pulled out the budget and he went through it line by line by line. He pointed out a $30,000 communication budget. He pointed out that we're buying these folks, coffee, breakfast, and everything like that when they're there on $1 million contracts. Well, nobody buys me coffee and breakfast on my way to work, and I don't have $1 million contracts. $30,000. We're doing emails and some signs. Why does it cost $30,000 to communicate what's going on down there? and to be 10 million over and then have that much fat in the budget just was not something that I thought was great. And I think we could have got a better deal. I don't think the project would have died, and I think we could have fought a little bit harder for that. And that's the type of fiscal responsibility you'll get from me on the council, because I feel that unfortunately some folks get caught up in the emotional side of things having to get done and don't think about the fact of where the money's coming from and understanding that in order to be a good, efficient city moving forward, the fiscal side of it is important. And coming from a background like I did personally, I understand the value of a dollar, and you won't find me in a situation like that because it'll either be on the budget. If it's not on the budget, the project will be on budget, or it's not going to get through. So that's just how I was raised, and that's how I plan to be on council.
On the design part of that, one of the other objections we heard from some folks were about the roundabouts down there. What do you think about incorporating that into the design?
Here's the deal with the roundabouts. Roundabouts are not popular. I'm going door to door every day, and I'm hearing from folks that they're just not pleased with the idea of the roundabouts. However, the folks who did this, who are doing the project, were kind enough to sit down with us, not only individually, but with us collectively as a community, and they were showing us study after study after study from around the entire country that it makes the traffic flow better, that it potentially is safer because folks don't speed up into roundabouts, they slow down into roundabouts. With that being said, I can empathize with the folks who are from up north who don't like the idea because they go right up the road here to Coconut Point, and it seems like people have no idea what they're doing as soon as they hit the roundabout, and it's a little bit crazy. I mean, I've been caught in that thing, and you get somebody who's maybe a snowbird who's no idea what's going on with the roundabout, and they're just driving around in circles, and it can be a scary situation. So I understand the apprehension. With that being said, it's done. It's done now. They're going underground. The roundabouts are going in. We know where they're going. The one that gives me the most pause, to be honest with you, is the one over on Terry. Just because that's such a dangerous intersection as it is, I'm a little apprehensive about that. But at this point, there's no point in me dwelling on what's already signed, sealed, and delivered and under construction. And so, is it the best thing for us? Not quite sure, but I can be sure that as things move forward, I'll be paying attention, and they'll have to make a very convincing case to me if they expect to get my vote on things like that.
Transportation and traffic is always a big thing, and was certainly with Raptor Bay project and so forth. Where do you see the road and street improvement needs here in Bonita?
Okay, that's a good question. The thing with traffic, number one, when I was sitting down with the folks who are actually currently doing the Bonita Beach Road Visioning Study, I expressed to them that it was important to me that they increased connectivity because we have these main arteries, and these main arteries have so much pressure on them because there's no, I believe the guy called them release valves. So you have no flow through from the other streets, which increases the traffic and the problems on the main arteries. I think we need to do some more connectivity throughout. I'm not an advocate for widening Bonita Beach Road, which may be a little bit different from some other folks. I don't want to widen Bonita Beach Road. I don't believe in flyovers on Bonita Beach Road. It's not the vision that I have for the future of Bonita, definitely. So I want to increase connectivity. And I want to ensure that it is pedestrian friendly, and I, in no way, shape, or form, want to widen it.
You talk about increasing connectivity. Are you talking about north, south, east, west routes?
But I mean, all of in both. And I'm talking. We have the way we're set up. There are portions of town where there's no connectivity all the way through to the main roads, not at all. And I think if we allowed for that in certain areas, it's going to relieve a lot of the pressure that we have on these main arteries, and then we won't have people are going to find workarounds as opposed to being stuck at lights for 2 or 3 lights, and then by that point they're cursing the traffic and everything like that. Well, to me, I plan my day around the traffic. As a Venetian, I plan my day around the traffic. It's only for a couple months. But I don't want to drastically alter who we are and how we look to change how we drive during peak season. It's just not the direction I see for the city.
I'm driving around town. Is there something that comes to mind as an example immediately? So why don't we connect this to this?
No, I don't think there should be one road. I don't think it should be one road that we're focusing on as the opening up connectivity, because then you have folks feeling like you're targeting them specifically. Honestly, the best idea would be to comprehensively, as part of the plan, include 10 roads throughout the city all at the same time, and it's part of the plan. So you're not just targeting the folks on XYZ lane. You're increasing connectivity throughout the entire city so that we can release the pressure that's on the main arteries, which will be better long term for everybody. But to point out one road and one part of town, not the best way to do it.
You mentioned the high school in there. You've spoken at meetings and been at meetings, etc. Is one of the sites rising to the surface in your mind?
Yes. Actually, a couple things come to mind with that. And before I do this, I'd like to preface this with saying, obviously, I've read the Naples Daily, and I know where you all stand on it. And I would like to say that though it's not maybe the smartest thing in the entire world, I hopefully you all will learn as a councilman, one thing you'll get out of me is honesty. And I'd have to respectfully disagree with your decision that it should be on Imperial. And I'd like to lay out the reasons why I respectfully disagree that it should be an Imperial. Number one, let's talk about the fact that it's surrounded by 4 communities that are empty nesters and retirees. 95% of those folks don't have children. Okay. Then I would like to talk about the problems and the inconsistency with the comp plan. Imperial, where that school's scheduled to go in 2018 is going to be an F-level rating, which is not compliant with what it needs to be according to our own comp plan. So if that road is not compliant, that means there's going to have to be major road work done 2018 right where we're putting the school. So now we've compounded the traffic significantly. We've put it in the middle of a bunch of empty nesters, and the only main road that we can get to the school is going to be under construction. To me, that just seems like a nightmare. It does not seem like the right way to go. Additionally, we can be 100 feet from these empty nester communities, or we can be 100 feet from the firehouse. Now, if there's an emergency situation with your child, what would you like them to be closer to? To me, that's a no-brainer. Then, additionally, water quality, as we know, is a huge deal here. And Dr. Adkins is one of the people who actually sold me initially on the Bonita Beach Road, Bonita Grande site. And when he was explaining it to me, it really clicked. He was talking about, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the parcel. It's a 68-acre parcel that's L-shaped. And the L-shaped portion is going to be 20 acres. That's technically in the DRGR. However, that's going to go undeveloped. So we're talking about a high school that is going to be a green high school that will be the standard for the state of Florida. And additionally, that undeveloped 20 acres is supposed to be an ecological learning center where the kids can learn about water quality issues, which is so important in every political decision that's made in Southwest Florida. So why not teach our kids about it right now in a place where they're right in the middle of it? So the advantages to that, to me, are huge. And then last but not least, if you saw NBC2's article, or I'm sorry, it wasn't even an article, it was a story on the sexual offenders in proximity. They said, and this wasn't even something that I was talking about. To me, I was talking about the comp plan. I was talking about the folks that were surrounded by it that were going to be directly affected. I was talking about the DRGR ecological garden portion of it. But when the NBC2 story dropped, I was completely sold because they said, look, you have 2 sites. One, you're talking 19 sexual offenders. 2 or 3 of those are actual sexual predators. In the other site, you have 3, just offenders, not predators. To me, the school board's number one responsibility above all else, is child safety. If this is going to be a school that they're going to be walking to, I'm 34 years old. I'm going to have kids who are going to be walking to this school. To me, it's of the utmost importance, the child safety. So even if the road weren't an issue, which it is, even if the surrounding community weren't an issue, which it is, even if the DRGR issue weren't on the table, which it is, from a child safety standpoint, I'm sold. If we're looking at two sites, and one is safer for the students, I have to go there. So that's why I respectfully disagree with you all in regards to that site. And additionally, I've heard recently that there's going to be talks with reviving one of the sites over that's owned by the Catholic Church over on Terry. So I'm not even quite sure this is done, to be honest with you. I'm hopeful it's not, because I think we can get a win. I think there's potential for a win-win here, and I'm hopeful we can get there.
One of the things you mentioned on your campaign literature is Imperial River protection. Can you elaborate a little bit on what it is that you think the city needs to do to protect that area better?
The Imperial is, and this just kind of goes back to the development side of life. I definitely, look, I'm an advocate for the Imperial River in every way, shape, and form. I've been to numerous cleanups on the Imperial River. I advocated for the contract with GCT kayaks and paddleboards out there. I'm an avid kayaker. I'm an avid paddleboarder. I love the Imperial River, and quite frankly, our city, a lot of folks don't know, our city was really founded right around the Imperial River, so it's one of the most important things. So for me, moving forward, when I'm talking about protecting the Imperial, I'm saying that I want to be cognizant of everything that's going to be going up development-wise in the vicinity of the Imperial River that has the potential to impact it. And I feel that I will be somebody who will be very cautious of anything that goes up in, around, or near the Imperial River.
If you're going to be careful about what goes there and you're concerned about development out in the DRGR, where do you see Bonita growing, or do you see it pretty much built out?
No, I don't see it built out, and that's I don't see it built out, and it's, you know, it's funny because sometimes I get pegged as being somebody who's no growth, no, I don't want it, no, I don't want it. Well, the reality is that, do I want us to be the East Coast? No, I don't. Do I want us to be Fort Lauderdale? No, I don't. Do I want to be Naples' little brother? No, I don't. We are a very unique, wonderful, strong. Look, my campaign logo is Bonita Proud. I'm very, very proud of who we are in Bonita. However, I'm glad. With that being said, I'm glad we're doing this development in downtown, because quite frankly, we've been focusing on the edges. We've been focusing on building up these beautiful gated communities, and now we're reinvesting downtown. Now we're going to get some folks who are going to be able to walk down there, who are going to, we're going to be able to put some dollars in making what is actually the core of our city better. I have no problem with development in the right way, in the right circumstance, in the right time. I do have a problem with disrupting the ecology of the DRGR. I do have a problem with disrupting anything that might hit the Imperial, but that doesn't mean in any way, shape, or form I am against development or developers. I'm just very pro DRGR protection and pro Imperial River protection. That's all.
For somebody who may not be familiar with you and your opponent, tell us why somebody should go your way.
My opponent's a great guy. I have no issue with him. Look, we live 4 doors down from each other, and I really and truly believe that folks, after this race is over, are hopefully going to look at our race as the standard for how things should run in local elections, because he has been a gentleman, and we have had a very, very clean race, and I'm pleased with it. However, one of the big differences we have would be the DRGR. His thought is that it should be developed. I'm opposed to it being developed. That's one thing that we differ on. Additionally, I would say, without saying anything bad about him, I just kind of like to say some of the things they're going to get with me. With me, they're going to get somebody who's accessible without exception. With me, they're going to get somebody who's going to bring passion and representation to an area that often feels that their voices aren't heard, as opposed to the other areas in Bonita Springs. They're going to get somebody who is, I would say that the fact that I'm one of the youngest to ever run, and the fact that I'm the first Latino to ever run, are really and truly side stories, because what I'm going to bring is I'm going to bring fire, passion, and dedication to every single meeting because, quite frankly, I'm honored. I'm honored to be in this race, and I'm honored to be this far. And I can promise them it doesn't matter if I'm not going to get the sleep that I need. I will be prepped and ready to go on all cylinders for every single meeting.
Last 30 seconds or so we have here. Anything else you want to say in terms of getting your message out?
Well, I just want to say my campaign logo is Bonita Proud. And it's Bonita Proud because, listen, we are, in my opinion, the best we are the most upcoming and the most beautiful city in the state of Florida. We have the best beaches nationally. We have the best parks on a state level. We are about to have a state-of-the-art high school, a beautiful downtown, a beautiful library. Our best days are yet to come, and I can't wait till March 16th. Hopefully, I'll be getting sworn in on that council, and I'll be able to keep us going in the right direction. I appreciate your support.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.